So this is how bad I have failed this evening's throws for mind control. Dum dum da dum da da dum da da dum da da dum dum da da. Dum dum da dum. It's that bad. And whoosh.
Well, it certainly was that bad once upon a day. Welcome to this limited hangout. How not to befriend the dragon stream on the Grim Grizz YouTube channel stream where you're watching it now. Or where you're watching it in the future time. We'll get into that too. You're watching it now. According to what a clip in this video, or in this stream, you're watching this right now. Or no matter what. Anyway. Anyway, blue church card of the show is the ace of spades, inverted even. Inverted. Boy, howdy. You better get your savings throws ready, everybody. And you know why you can? Because of the Shadow Cabal. Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all. This was supposed to happen this morning, but it's happening now. Welcome, welcome. Here are your savings throws for the evening or tomorrow. You can extend these until the next time you see me, essentially. You choose survival, social, wisdom, or heart. I roll the die. If it's over 10, you take half damage. You've made your savings throw. Woot! If it's under 10, you take full damage. You failed your savings throw. Woot! There's bonuses for chatting in the Hive Mind chat and on the replay comments, sharing, and anything else that's healthy for the channel as far as YouTube analytics go. Isn't that weird? Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Choose. Ooh, survivalists getting a baker's coven tonight. That's a 13. That's a 13. Socialists, congratulations. Nat 20. That's +3 to next stream even. Lovers of wisdom, 16. Oh, good. And hard folks in 18. Looks like everybody's making their savings. Oh, no. The indigo guy's only got a 5. Everybody else has made their savings throw and is only taking half damage from the things that we're going through and the thing and the...
No fur here. Sharks don't have fur.
We got a card. It just says the same as the thumbnail. So on this side, it just says how not to befriend the dragon. But there's also these ones. We're gonna touch on those. Woo, that one looks like fun. And we're gonna start off with something light and fluffy and fun for everybody. Right after more branding.
We all know that there is no agency any living gent can see. Doing what is right for me is lifting up my bro so he can grow some eyes to see that doing what is right for me increases all our agency.
Well, that is a great groove. It's the shanty. LARP. We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard. LARP. We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard. That was a McMo one, I think. I believe that was a McMo masterpiece. I think that was his stylistic impression, signature thereof. Okay. According to Rascal, I should grift harder. So there's a link at the top of the hive mind there.
Now what'll that asshole think of next? Is anybody got a dime? I don't know.
Oh, and we got a Miss McGillicuddy with the Plum Island mention. Hot damn. Party hardest. Well, yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, we're starting with something nice and fluffy. We got a special direct reaping from our good friend Lynn Lavoie, and that was this here.
About this existential threat. And so I wrote a piece about the way it might go down, that a solar storm would cause disruption on Earth that would result in the extinction of humanity. And when this sunspot started flinging stuff at us this week, I went back and read it. And I was stunned by the first line. So it says, the world began to end on the 12th of May, 2024, though another 309 years would pass before our species finally went extinct. Now, that caused a lot of people, when they saw this, I retweeted my article, when people saw it, it caused a lot of people to think, what the hell is going on here, including me.
Yeah.
You know, when I saw that, I couldn't make sense of it because indeed, this was going to be right in the middle of this wave of truly frightening and unprecedented in the last something about this.
And it caused me to click through to get to the bottom of it, which is a few, I don't know how many minutes later, but at 1 hour and 11 minutes into the video, that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a fumble. First of all, it's still on 1.75 speed, and second of all, I didn't hit shared this tab instead. Oy vey. Okay.
That knowledge resulted in a admittedly quite spectacular coincidence. You probably ought to have that knowledge too, because your well-being could potentially depend on it, and our collective reasonableness depends on it, right? This ought to be a priority because it is a real threat to not only nations, but to humanity. And if this gets your attention,
I'm going to push back on you there. It is huge.
I'm the boss, man. I'm pushing back on you. No, this is where it gets to the why this podcast happens.
But it ought to be a priority for individuals. Individuals literally can't do anything to protect the grid.
Oh, individuals can't do anything to protect the grid, but it is certainly the fact that individuals are largely unaware of the threat to the grid that causes the political apparatus that could do something about the grid at very low cost not to do it decade after decade.
So I think...
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. There we have it. The agency deck card of the show is the 5 of Hearts. Goes with that indigo roll. Hey, Mark. Okay, and then... And now Paul has made it pretty clear he's going to be covering this, so I thought I'd scoop him on it.
It doesn't even mention a crucifixion or anything like that. And yet this was one of the most sort of important Gnostic texts that ends up getting buried, as I say. And this isn't some kind of fringe Christian movement. I wish I could remember which church father it was that said of the early Christians, when you go into a new town and don't ask to be taken to the Christian church, ask to be taken to the Catholic church, because otherwise you might end up in a Gnostic church who believe in a spiritual resurrection. The resurrection is here, it's now, it's inside of you, it's outside of you. This is the Gnostic teaching. This existed and was end up in a Gnostic church who who believe in a spiritual resurrection. The resurrection is here, it's now, it's inside of you, it's outside of you. This is the Gnostic teaching. This existed and was popular. It was popular enough that Valentinus, one of the great Gnostic heretics, or sort of anti-heretics, depending on how you look at it. I love the Gnostic tradition. I think it's wonderful. As an atheist, I'm able to sort of read the Gospels as so many people do and say, well, I don't believe in all that stuff, but I think Jesus was a great moral teacher. He's a pretty good moral teacher.
Like in a couple of minutes, he shuts him down with this, maybe.
I mean,
So do you think it's time for a Gnostic revival?
Yeah, now that I can get behind.
You get on board with that?
That I can
That's
definitely.
basically transhumanism. We need to stay well clear of that.
Yes.
Just to very briefly respond.
In other words, I don't see why that would be such a live debate if the evidence was so clear, especially in the early
I think if you actually look at why Gnosticism arose, it's because they were buying into essentially a Platonic view, which was that the body is bad, physical stuff is bad,
yes,
and we need to get back to this spiritual, ethereal realm. And they didn't like the bodiliness of... Now, the point is, Gnostics all came a couple of centuries after the first Gospels, and they are very clearly talking about something very physical, something very Jewishly physical about the resurrection. So I appreciate there have been lots of divergent strands of Christianity over the years. The reason we eventually did say those were a heresy is because they just don't actually live up to the real earthy physicality of what Christianity has always been. It's always been about real life in the real world.
I don't think it's
not
always
a kind of...
Always about real life in the real world, while you seek first the kingdom and store your treasures in heaven. What? Welcome. This is the How Not to Befriend a Dragon This Limited Hangout stream. And this limited hangout portion of the stream we have just arrived at. You see, in case you don't know, and I personally think it's a terrible term because it's hard to remember and it doesn't stick, but there's this term called limited hangout where it looks like you can talk about anything, but when you really start to talk about anything, you get ignored or shut down if it's not on the if it's outside of the bounds of the limited hangout. That's therefore the limit of the hangout is the bound, the minuscule little Overton window of the hangout itself. And just to make sure this isn't that, you see, because once upon a time I heard about this thing called estuary. And it was about how mixing the churchy living water people with the salty water of everybody else in the secularum, and also everyone else, the New Agers, the demon worshippers, everybody is supposed to be able to mix and match in the estuary with the fresh living water of the Christians. And so, 10 of hearts for the casino deck card of the show. I decided that I would stick around because, as far as I could tell, Christians were basically like Ned Flanders with their head in the sand. And if I could bring some salt in the estuary waters, then, but if the salt is not within the Overton window, then this becomes this limited hangout, which is why I called the stream that, because we're going to see how the salt goes over this time around. And yeah, so there, I've delivered on the title now. Let's have some magic missiles. What?
The list? Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room? I want to cast magic missile.
The room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet. I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting magic missile. Why are you casting magic missile? There's nothing to attack here. I'm attacking the darkness.
The salty nose, salt of the earth. right? Right? They salt the fields. What? No.
So say we all. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Ho, ho, ho.
Oh. All right, so some of my favorite salt, because it was presented to me on the same day as the other path I straddled. This time, though, he's calling you guys out directly. What some people have lovingly referred to as the guy with the eyes, John St. Julian Baba Winyama with Sacred Secretion, Christianity, get off your knees.
Spirit away from flesh. Without that, mankind lives eternally in a state of separation from Creator. And the fallen ones are aware that this substance, this beautiful part of the anatomy of man, that was originally placed in the Eden operating system in a plentiful abundance, they understood that it had to be restricted. They had to restrict that substance to restrict mankind's connection to the Creator. And so it is that the substance has been restricted by the moon matrix, a video that I've done in depth. Meaning,
and it's a very, very David Icke take on the moon.
Our connection to the living God and its guidance and its power has been restricted through the restriction of the doorway to it, which is the anointing within us.
What's this claim here? What's this claim he puts under his name? Theologians may quarrel, but the mystics of the world speak the same language.
Sacred secretion is as follows. Due to the interference of the fallen, when the moon enters your birth sign, I am born in Aries. I'm born March 30th. Therefore, when the moon enters Aries, the anatomy, the body which is influenced by the stars around you, the body which is afflicted with the fallen operating system or the higher dimensional slave technology within us, it is animated to birth the holy anointing within you, the birth of consciousness, the birth of the Christic substance within all of man, the sacred secretion, the chrism, the iktos. It is secreted from the colostrum of your brain. It then travels your 33 vertebrae.
Now, in case you miss it, I don't know if he goes into it here. This is the claim here, is that when they talk about the oil of gladness in the Bible, this is that. That's the claim.
Vertebrae. As it travels down, it meets the sacred place or your sacral plexus, which is 5 fused vertebrae, and it begins its return journey. As it passes through the 33 vertebrae, it reaches the hypoglossal. The hypoglossal, or the 12th cranial nerve, has within it a pyramid structure and an olive structure. And thus we get the misconception that you must be anointed with the oil of the olive or the olive oil. And we have preachers around the world rubbing olive oil on people's foreheads. But the real power that we need is not these traditions anymore. It is to raise the Christ in man and let them have the true anointing of the oil that passes through the olive of the 12th cranial nerve.
Now, see, all of this should be visualizable on fMRI and easily confirmable, unless our universe functions under the law of confusion, and like it could be confirmable or deniable, right? We can do spinal taps on people, but the theory is that basically your brain sort of has this once a month thing. Like half of the audience ought to know what that's like. And when that happens, it goes all the way down and comes all the way up. But if you spend it, if you eat it up, it's the tree of life. Maybe anyway. If you I don't know, ejaculate and or eat meat, or basically it's a precious sacred substance that you can spoil and spend. We're not sure if it's also what they mean by the Kundalini nonsense, but there seems to be at least mystic claims that there's lots about our own physical anatomy that isn't public and whatever knowledge. Oh, no, see, but Clara, I'm the Grimgriz part of the corner, which seems to have a strange effect. 10% at the over-under. I don't know. If you're only counting watchers, but that distracted me. Now we have to play branding.
Slime! What? It's a river of slime!
Now, if anyone gives it a watch, they will get to. We have to. You have to find it. You son of a! And you didn't timestamp it? No. I found it. Thanks to the power of transcripts and Control F there. Here you go. Oh, ooh, that looks creepy. Let's take it back a second.
The most feared sacred knowledge is that which would bring Christianity up from its knees and into the power that Yeshua promised. Billions of people are Christian. Billions. How many of those are able to say that, as Yeshua promised, those who follow these signs and wonders they will have? They will cast out devils. They will heal the sick. They will pray in a new tongue. Praying in a new tongue is a manifestation through the human organism that we all are that allows us to harmonically attune with the Creator. We have been railroaded by misconceptions in religion that leave man in a very peculiar spot where we pray to God and expect God to obey our bidding. God does not work for man. God works in man, through man. We must learn that force to be present in ourselves, and there we must command the power of the Creator with our spoken word, with our intention. And
there, I think, is the chief easy objection for the Christians. I thought I'd point that out. But as I wrote here on the card, how did Christ deal with demons? How did he deal with demons? Yes, he is Afriel. That's why I give you guys savings throws. Next up, in fun, interesting things I saw today that I'm sharing with you. Once upon a time, I talked to John Vervaeke and I asked him about Pythagoras, and I found today again the reason why I asked him about it, and it was this guy here. What's his name? Terrence Howard. Oh, approximations.
and that all of the postulates and axioms they've built off of are erroneous. And being able to present that, but also being given the blessing of defining the magnetic field, the feminine side, and patenting those, the expansion or the unfolding of the universe. But then being given the opportunity to define the neutral that sits between it, or the constitution, which is the linchpin that mitigates between the micro, which is the electric world, and the macro, which is the magnetic world. And this works as a bridge, a common factor between. So having discovered and patented the grand unified field equation, and putting it into practice and building all of these new industries that have come from it, from transcendental lighting to tangential flight, to in supersymmetrical systems. I've patented 4 supersymmetrical systems. And a supersymmetrical system is
So, like, this guy goes from sea to life to making patents, which is terribly fascinating to me. And he mentions the secret Pythagoras was looking after. Kale is complaining about Paul Renee Nichols on Twitter again, or maybe he's got a new friend. Neutrino, it's good to see you. I was scared earlier today that Hyun Shu had run you off. Clint D, I believe I saw on a live stream recently and said, Clint!
always aligned. That's how the universe behaves. And according to science, there are no supersymmetrical systems because the platonic solids have a thing called discrete symmetry. And for everybody out, the platonic solids were 5 polygons that are based upon straight lines and flat planes. And they're the
I don't know. He seems smart, and yet his hair looks like that, and he goes. I don't. We're supposed to be convinced by your intelligence, but you've made that choice.
Tetrahedron, the hexahedron or the cube, the octahedron, the dodecahedron, and the icosahedron. Now, for millennia, since the days of Pythagoras.
See, Pythagoras, that's why.
The days of Plato. These were the undisputed fundamentals of God. And they said that they pulled it out of the flower of life.
Well, referencing the flower of life, which, if you don't know what that is, anybody out there, it's a sacred geometrical figure. And it really goes back to as above, so below. If you're looking at, for example, just when you start off with the ovum with an egg, that's one sphere. And by the time you add 6 more interconnecting spheres, you now have a seed. You have a seed of life. Then, so it goes from a seed to a fruit to a flower. So it's really a progression of life. And at the base of everyone's spine are a group of cells that are in the form of the flower of life. And mostly almost all organic, especially mammalian species, there's this flower of life cellular formation in the base of the spine. It's there from the time you're born and stays there until you die. But that's just...
To me, it seems that there must be something on the other side. We are all told that truth is merely a conclusion that can reliably be derived from some observable phenomenon. We forget that truth is a tool. It is the hook upon which we hang our deeds and the bed from which we rise each day. To assume that death is the end is to assume that our being extends no further than the physical substrate that carries us. This assumption does not account for the way in which we experience being alive, nor does it sit comfortably aside the fact that we are not yet able to comprehend the way in which our being manifests itself from the flesh and bone that binds us. I believe that those gaps in our understanding are still wide enough to cast doubt on such conclusions. I believe that those gaps are yet wide enough for our souls to fit through and drift onwards into some new realm.
Yours truly, Christian Baxter says, Terrence Howard needs to talk to Roy Clauser and get his head straight. And that reminded me that I recently have became advised that who is now Estuary at Zamzam, our favorite saint dealer, recently baptized, also had a conversation with Roy.
You see how I am. I'm constantly sending you updates on what I'm thinking that minute.
Oh, no, I didn't see one.
But that's okay. It's okay. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. I haven't watched it yet, but let's check out the 33rd minute.
And I got a woman. She said, "Oh, someone will take care of you." So three days later, no call. So I thought, huh. So I went on, Jonathan Pajot. Do you know Jonathan Pajot? Symbolic World. He does symbolism of the Bible.
No, I've not read anything by him.
Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. He has a website, and there's a chat room, sort of comment room on the website. And I go into the comment room, watching people. I'm waiting for the person that I think might be able to help me in my quest to find an Orthodox priest to discuss absinthe, or to discuss incense herbs.
To discuss absinthe. What a Freudian slip there, Stephen.
Yeah. Listen to that.
We've put ourselves in an impossible situation with storytelling, which is that you can't tell the story anymore.
Yeah. Listen to that.
We've put ourselves in an impossible situation with storytelling, which is that you can't tell the story anymore. The exception has to become the center, has to become the one that's holding the center of the story. And so because of that, we've put ourselves in an impossible situation with storytelling, which is that you can't tell the story anymore.
Oh, okay. Oh, where we at? We're doing a stream here. This limited Hangout stream. Yeah. And it's how not to befriend the dragon. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that too. All that and more.
I'm not a cat.
But we do have some fun more things I've loaded up in the tab selection. This one, that bit about time I was talking about earlier. Have some more salt.
And I don't really want to get into the resurrection right now, but it was 2,000 years ago, roughly, from when I'm making this video, as time goes, but actually it was right now, and is right now, since everything is now all time happening all at once, and that's hard to wrap your head around. You have to imagine looking along a timeline and seeing the past and the future, and then as if you could turn that timeline on its end and look down it like a tube, and you would see everything happening all at the one time. That's about the only way I can explain it to you.
That's a pretty good way of explaining it to you. This video got my click-through because he titled it, "The Video You Left for Yourself in the Last Life." He's apparently one of those a course in miracles salesmen. I also heard this on my way to get things at the store today, and it seemed to fit. This branding interrupted because kale needs tuna. What? Yeah, and then you click this. Where is it, though? Son of a... See, you find it and then you say that. Okay, then. You didn't, and now we're here. You find the tuna, man.
Working on it. Tuna.
And now, the final clip I thought goes with this bundle. This is also out there as for some salt.
The societal energies do not want you to know who you really are eternally and cosmically. They desire for us to be in a prison with your ideas and thoughts. You are in charge of your idea and thoughts. My father started to teach me in my teen years. The systems out there want you to be in a prison and do not want you to know you have the key to unlock this prison, to release who you really are and to become the amazing being of the more. Dad would say in the 60s, they, the system, spend money and time and energy on making us social puppets. Marionette is the word that he would refer to. Encyclopedia Britannica describes a marionette as any of several types of puppet figures manipulated from above by strings attached and controlled. Manipulated from above by strings. Very interesting. We have the spiritual mystical scissors to cut and release these strings. Utilize your beautiful key. Sacred ways and energies be yours.
That's out there. You got the spiritual keys and the scissors. And then soon on this How Not to Befriend the Dragon stream, the thumbnail title or the thumbnail and the rest of the card here. The rest of the card. Stay tuned. Stay tuned, Macadona. Stay tuned. Oh dear, click a thing. Which one though? This one.
But I'm trying to get people to understand that there's a continuum, just like I proposed that flow is on the continuum with insight. There's a continuum between what's happening with me and Hermes, and then there's people who are doing ally work, and then there's IFS, and then there's people who write creatively, like Stevenson, Robert Louis Stevenson, Treasure Island. He would wake up with his characters talking, right? Think about this. Every night you go to sleep, you have dream characters who have this kind of, right, you but not you presence in you, and you spend hours with them. And that's not a coincidence. That is necessary for your cognition.
Well, yeah, Dostoevsky actually thought of his characters as being real.
That's
right. Like as independent from him. And this reminds me again of Tomberg, because Tomberg talks about the imagination and meditations on the tarot in several ways. But the one that really lands with me is that he ultimately, like the ultimate register in which he talks about imagination is that imagination is the faculty which allows you to become the other.
Yes.
Which always reminds me of in T.H. White's The Once and Future King, like the way Merlin teaches Arthur is by actually like transforming him into other creatures. But like that's happening through Arthur's imagination is the way in which this transformation is happening, where it's allowing him to become. Well, it also makes me think of like of Douglas Harding's hierarchy of heaven and earth when he talks about like looking through the layers, where as I look through those layers both up and down the hierarchy of being, I actually in some way actually become the thing that I am looking at, whether it be the sun or a microbe underneath my microscope.
Yeah, you do, and notions, that are increasingly gaining steam about deep continuity. You put Evan Thompson and Michael Levine's work together, and Levin's work together. Sorry, I keep mispronouncing his name. Michael Levin's work together, and you get this profound deep continuity. And then some of the work that that's been done on extended cognition upward. And I won't repeat all these arguments as well. I mean, our ontology is shifting, and we're going through not only individual but collective transformative processes, and towards the imaginal. Like let's zero right in right now.
Oh, right in, right now. All right. Well, toward the imaginal. Here we go. The Michigan card of the show is the Ace of Clubs. Back in the Clubs Club, thanks to the Michigan deck. Now, it's just Levin. He's got the nice academics talk. So the rest of this card, the first one says, well, I think telling you what the card says is kind of a spoiler this time. I'll tell you the story. So there I was. Poisoned. I've been poisoning myself quite a lot since for the last month, we'll say, and there's a mirror. There's a mirror wall, like when you wear a dress and you check your way the full body. What do they call it? The tall mirror. And I was walking around in the living room all poisoned and stuff, and the phrase "rest and reflect" came to me as I was there in front of the mirror, and so I sat down and did one of the things they say you're not supposed to do when you're poisoned, and but the phrase "rest and reflect" it's a one we got from John Vervaeke, and it's one of the two modes of being. Like one is explore and whatnot, and then the other one is rest and reflect. And it occurred to me a little bit that if we're always, when we're on the internet, we might think we're in rest and reflect mode, but really we're in this synthetic hunter-gatherer mode. The explore and whatever, even though we're not actually doing anything, our brain is not in the rest and reflect mode, and we don't actually get to rest and reflect. I recently also found this old journal here, which for almost 3 weeks I journaled every day, and that was from 2 years ago, and that kind of reflection is terribly painful. So what I'd like you to do for bonus saves on the next stream is journal tonight. If it's not a practice you normally do, if it is a practice you normally do, please mention me saying it in your journal. But say that I'm right. Like, okay, here's a journal. I'm going to reflect on my day at the end of the night, and write something because Grimm said so. And I exposed my universe, my life, my limited lifespan. I spent being virtually not alone with the Grim Grizz and the Hive Mind. And a bunch of them are going to do the journaling thing, he said. So I might as well, too. And then let's just see because, boy, man, you find it 2 years later and you're like, whoa, what was up with that guy? And a lot of the poisoning was interesting because, it's like poison can affect your cognition and your state of mind, and when it did that to me, it occurred to me how much basically it's like we're riding around in our head with a very imaginative mute person, and the right brain, the master side of the brain, that like we live in our language self, and there's that admonition to know thyself, right? And how does that apply to the 4 P's of knowing? Do you participate in your selfhood? What? Yes. What's the proposition? You propositionally construct a selfhood out of axioms or context to adapt to the environmental context of the situation. You build a self. But according to John Vervaeke, the self is a special kind of memory, and that reminds me, of course, of the diffusion limited aggregates, the sticky ones. Which memories stick and why? And and memory reminded me of mnemonic, and mnemonic, which is, I guess, some kind of memory aid, reminded me of Newman, and Newman was a crusader. In our Monday Night Axe game, which for the most of you just think D&D, right? And Newman perished, and this week the subsequent character lost a foot, and it's like, that's the thing about this embodied existence. That's the real rub, right? Is you can get maimed and just be stuck. Like, whatever damage was done to you, you have to live with it for the rest of your life. Even if it happened when you were a small infant and you have to live another 50 years, that damage is with you forever. And that's what's so special about this. But Newman, the guy who died the week before, was a Crusader, and the Crusader is basically a cleric from D&D. They changed the names because there was that thing. And he came into a situation. They walked into this dark temple in the deep underground, whatnot, and there was a sleeping dragon. But beyond the sleeping dragon was an investigative staircase that the party could go down. So Newman took it upon himself to go in front of the dragon and sit there and try to be his friend, while his buddies, like, basically they were to sneak down past the dragon while he sat there in front of the dragon. And if the dragon woke up, he would be the only one that had to deal with it. And he tried to befriend it. It's like, you're stuck in this temple. It's got to be lonely. What were the good old days like? And he's like, I'll show you, and then killed me. And that's that, ladies and gentlemen, is how not to befriend a dragon. Okay. That's everything you put on the cards and in the tabs. We're going to call that a successful show. Let's check in with Clara in the Hive Mind, who says, whoa, living on forever in people's journals. I know, right? I mean, but they made this part of their lives. So, but do you listen to them, Dust? See, that's the thing about journals, is finding them again one day. You know where the audio recordings are, and it's a lot more difficult to remember and go back and listen to something than to randomly found something you wrote one. I wonder if we all did it for a month diligently, could we make a book? No, because if I was writing for a book, it wouldn't be like writing in a journal. The journal's got to be self-reflection. And I don't, and they would, no, you guys, we can do a special project that's like that, but there wouldn't be a journal. What if, as G says, what if there were only 3 Ps? What if you get maimed and can't experience one of the Ps? I don't even know. Okay. Who was the best Seinfeld character? What are we? Oh, you guys have lost me. You've lost me. Sisterhood of the Traveling Journal. Sisterhood of the Traveling Journal. See, just because I have so many ladies that watch this show. Hey, it's Pedrin, the 1964 fan. No, it's not Newman. See, but it wasn't Newman, guys. It was this. Hold on. Let me show you. It was like this. It was, his name was Newman, the priest, the Crusader of Nevis. Here, put it, save it, and show it. That's why it reminded me. He wasn't the guy from Jurassic Park. He was a different one. He was a different. Damn it. Oh, have I ever watched? Oh, it's funny you should mention that, Gartham. I did a little bit of that today, and if you get the if you're subscribed with the bell, hey, you'll know. Why is that there?
Secret blessing.
Oh, stop it! If you subscribed with the bell, you would have got stupid shorts notifications, which makes subscribing with the bell a giant pain in the arse. And this, I watched a lot of this one earlier today. This one.
And he says, victims, aren't we all? And that stayed with me for a really, really long time. But when the general came and merged with my consciousness, that it was shifted to the realization that John just mentioned here, that we're all shapers. Like, that I'm here providing this virtually not alone experience is shapes your behavior because you're here. You know what I mean? And we are all constantly shaping each other. And he said,
yeah, like hopefully you've shaped some people to do some journaling and self-reflection and not poison themselves. Anyway, this has been the stream. Thank you to the, oh, you didn't start it. Way up at the top. Where is it? Kofi makes a nice little thing. Go find it. Go. Wow, thanks for chatting so much, guys. It really makes this part of the show convenient. You're just high dust. You're never going to get up there. I think it was Afriel. Somebody helped us during the Kofi goal. Oh, well, anyway, this was a show. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. and I hope you feel virtually not alone. Until next time, I'm taking the train out of here.